It's time for Power Rankings, everybody. NFL Power Rankings with this hot intro. Wow. Is that Tiesto or is that Calvin Harris? Who's that right there?
Sure.
Mm-hmm. Sure. Whatever.
I don't know what you're talking about, so sure.
Matt, your turn.
Yes. Number 10, Cincinnati Bengals. This could have easily have been the 49ers. This could have easily have been the Ravens. So they're
10 was tough.
The 10 was
Not
one
for
of
me.
the 10 one of three teams. Like it could have been the Ravens, could have been the 49ers. But I went with all three teams basically being equal in my eyes. I went with the team that I just kind of personally feel is the best. So I went with Cincinnati there. 9 Colts stay there, despite the fact that they lost this past week. It just got the second half just got a little out of control there for them. Couldn't get anything going on the ground, and then Carson Wentz kind of couldn't really get anything going through the air either. But I don't think that drops them out of the top 10 here. And again, if I honestly think if they're matched up against the teams that aren't making this, they're probably going to be favored against the majority of them. So have them at 9. Rams fall to 8. And listen, this is not a good situation for this Rams team. Stafford, there's obviously something wrong with him. There's obviously some injury stuff going on there. Odell Beckham is not going to come in and just pick up where Robert Woods left off. There's some warts on this Rams team for sure. So down at number 8. Patriots at 7. They tick up one more. And a big game this week into which they could even enter the top 5 in the power rankings here with the team that is directly above them, which is the Bills. So those two teams pretty much neck and neck kind of in my eyes. And so which one of those teams comes out victorious could make a leap here into the rankings. 5, the top 5. Cowboys just fall spot. And that's mainly because I had to move someone up, and so to move someone up, people got to go down. So Cowboys down to 5, Bucks sitting at 4, Cardinals at 3. The big mover is the Packers all the way up to number 2, and then the Chiefs sitting there still at number 1 for me. Packers after, again, Kelley, you were talking about this on Monday when we came in there. It's just the level that Aaron Rodgers is playing right now, the way that defense has been able to kind of hold steady. That's the other thing, right? It
still doesn't get enough credit. The defense doesn't get enough credit. No. Even by myself and us probably sometimes, you know?
And that's the other, as good as Aaron Rodgers is, if the defense was still giving up 30-plus points a game, they're not going to win these games. And the defense is doing just enough to kind of keep this to where Aaron Rodgers and Devontae Adams go and do their thing. And, they're going to get Aaron Jones back to healthy here at some point. Obviously wasn't healthy this past week, even though he played very limited snaps there. But Packers all the way up to number 2 for me.
Who's your number 1?
Chiefs.
Okay.
They stay there.
I'll go 1 through 10 because I want to save the best for last. 1, Cardinals. I've had them for weeks. There's no reason to change them. Best record in football. They got through the Colt McCoy weeks on by. Kyler Murray supposedly coming back. Packers remain number 2. Have had the Packers number 2 for multiple weeks now. Nothing about their performance. Their win over the Rams this past weekend makes that go away. 1 and 2 remain the same. Cardinals, Packers. Buccaneers trickle up to 3. Cowboys trickle down to 4. Not going to kill the Cowboys. They didn't have their wide receivers. They were penalized 14 times. That's not likely to happen again, so I'm not going to penalize them too much. Bucks, by the way, at 3, great win on the road against the Colts as they came back from a 10-point deficit at halftime. I have the Colts at 5. I know they're 6-6, but to me, this is a very well-rounded football team, and quite frankly, I like them better than the Chiefs on a neutral. I don't think the Chiefs are all as much as everybody else is saying. That said, though, you do have to raise the Chiefs because everybody else is kind of just lollygagging. So I got the Chiefs at 6 behind the Colts. Bills, Patriots, like with you, Matt, really close to each other. Bills just with a little edge. Bills remain at 7. Patriots remain at 8. I did put the Niners in for the first time at number 9. With Debo, they are the 9th best team in the National Football League. But I'm very consistent. I don't penalize teams in my power rankings for not having players. I won't do it with the Cowboys. I won't do it with the Niners. And I'm not doing it with the Titans, who remain number 10, who don't have their 3 best offensive players and are -9 in turnovers the last 2 weeks. You can overlook those 2 massive facts, but the Rams, get out of here. You lost 3 football games in a row. You don't stay in my top 10 losing 3 in a row with your full strength. Full strength. Get out of here.
How are they full strength?
Get out of
Robert
here.
Woods is not.
Get out of here.
Robert Woods is not.
Get out of here.
What are you talking about?
Get out of here. Titans don't have their 3 best players. They're 10. Goodbye. Kelley, you're next.
The Titans, just for reference, for my full 32, the Titans are 23rd this week.
For full reference, my 11 is the. Oh, I had to put the Ravens in there still, and I was very upset about the Ravens. But it was Bengals, Ravens in some order.
It was
12.
one, that was, Bengals. The 10 spot was tough for me.
I think 10 could be any of the 3
It
teams.
really could.
It could be Ravens, 49ers, or Bengals.
Or Titans.
This was one of the few times I did look. I did have to enter your guys before I got to mine. So it was the first time I realized, I was like, wait a second, do none of us have the Ravens in? And I was like, you know what? I'm going to make them my number 10 because, like you're saying, Matt, they're so interchangeable with all those. Yeah. And they do have the best record in the AFC. So I'm not going to throw them completely outside of the top 10 for that. I'm gonna start at 1 though and work the way down. I did go Cardinals, Bucks, Packers. My top 5 remain the same. I thought that Bucks victory was a little bit more impressive. I think the Packers are probably a better team right now, but that Buccaneers performance last week probably a little bit more impressive. Just having to go on the road and beat up on a Colts team that had been running hot lately. So I didn't feel like bothering switching them just 2 and 3. Left it the way I had it last week. Cardinals 1, Bucks 2, Packers 3, Chiefs 4, Cowboys 5. Same thing. I'm not going to punch the Cowboys too much. I think we all think they're still a very good team. Bills up to 6. This team is just getting confusing at this point. I like that we all had the Bills slightly above the Patriots with 1 or 2 spots right above the Patriots, which I don't, we haven't made bets on that game yet. I don't think any of us, but
yeah, I have the Patriots at 3.5.
Oh, you do? Okay. Yeah. So I got Rams 7, moved them down. Colts 9, Ravens I did slide in there at 10.
So 7 of our top 8 are all the same, just in different order. Literally, I'm the only one who's consistent here. I don't penalize the Cowboys for their injuries. I'm not penalizing the Titans for their injuries. I'm not penalizing the 49ers for their injury to Deebo Samuel. I have been very consistent with everything.
Yeah, but I think the Cowboys and the 49ers with their injuries are not they don't take them out of the current top 10.
Yeah. Really? You don't think the 49ers injury takes them out of the top 10? I beg to differ.
I do because they're not in my top 10. But
differ.
I understand why they could be in someone's top 10. They're not in my top 10. So yes.
Let's take snapshots of this. And let's see whose power rankings age better than the other person. I know you like to chirp about this stuff, but let's wake up in January and let's see who's got 2 teams in the AFC Championship.
Rack this,
Name
because
the Titans
the Titans are going to be such garbage. Rack this right here. The Titans are going to be such garbage.
What do you think is more close to the truth? Me having them 10th or Mateo over here saying they're going to lose out?
See, Gil, let me just lock into me here, right here, man, right here. See, we do this every week. You can easily move teams out and then back in, back in.
No, because I want to be the guy who had them the whole time.
Okay, all right.
Smarter than all of you.
See, I did that with the Vikings this week. I was like, I can't possibly leave them in the top 10.
You may notice that the Chargers have snuck out.
You've given up on them finally.
Oh no, they're the Chargers aren't. Are the Chargers even a top half team? Barely.
They're probably no.
Barely.
Yeah, they're probably right around 16, 17, 18.
Here's what I love about you guys. We have 7 of the same first 8 teams, but you guys think your Rams. You guys think your Rams is somehow more superior than my Titans. Let me just suggest to the both of you that you guys are hypocrites. You guys are the most inconsistent power rankers I've ever met in my lives.
There is
terrible 3 in a row. Get them out of there.
To use your words against you, truth serum. You are never betting the Titans over the Rams.
Thank you for giving
me ever.
Thank you for giving me credit for truth serum.
You are betting the Rams 10.5 times out of 10 over the Titans. 10.5 times out of 10.
Yeah, Titans already crushed the Rams. Let's not forget that.
Look at that Kelley top 5. It's a blue bar, blue bar.
Thing of beauty.
It's a man of consistency right
You
there.
deserve credit. You are the power rank champ right now because that's what you're looking for, right? You're looking for a just solid group of teams that never move. And if you can have the same 5...
I can't help it that the Bills-Rams are forcing my hand to move them every single week.
Let me ask you guys a question. How many games in a row are the Rams going to have to lose before you knock them out of here? If they lose the game to the Jaguars, let's say they beat the Jaguars by 3.
Of course.
Are you guys going to be like, move them to number 3?
No, if they lost again, what was it? If they beat the Jaguars
they beat them by
3,
a field goal.
It depends what else happens in the league, right? Because, like, we've had those weeks, what was it, 2 weekends ago, where, like, every good team lost, and you're like, how do we do this? But I would say yes, most likely the Rams are out of my top 10 next week if they win by 3 points against the Jaguars.
Thank you. I'm holding you to that.
I said most likely, yeah.
Yeah.
I said it depends what else happens in the league. Do you remember doing this last week? The power rankings were like, they were tough. They were the toughest week to do them because all those good teams lost.
You haven't watched enough football. This is the early 2000 Washington football team with Deion Sanders and Bruce Smith and all of these guys who were Pro Bowlers 5 years prior to it. That's the Rams. By the way, I have the Rams to win the NFC. I'd like that to cash. I hope you guys are right. I hope you guys are right.
The problem.
Just want to point that out.
Me and Matt both have major Titans futures, so yeah, we would really like them to win the division.
Yeah, I was not thrilled with their situation here. It's like, so you look and you kind of just start once you get past kind of like you were talking about that top half. When you get past like number 16,
for me it was 13. It's a cliff.
There's just no. Yeah. There's not any teams that I think you would honestly consider good. Like, you think that there's maybe some potential for some of these teams once you get like into that second half, but I don't think any of them that you would think are actually good. You know, because so if we're saying who kind of comes down after this 10, like you guys said, it's Cincinnati's on the borderline for you guys, and the Ravens are on the borderline for you, Gill, and Kelley, you snuck them in or whatever. Like, so we kind of get that 10, 11, 12, 13-ish, 14-ish. Yeah. But like once you get past that, you're talking a bunch of these teams that are so incredibly inconsistent that it's just so. For example, like it's like Broncos, Dolphins, Eagles, Browns. Yeah. Saints, all these teams that are kind of like, they're not good, they're not bad, but they're not good, right? They're just kind of like meh. Like the really and truly kind of that top 14-ish are the ones that I think right now, present day NFL, you'd be like, these are good teams. These are teams that are actual contenders.
Yeah, but at least have an outside chance. You're right. You're right. Because for mine, it would be Bengals would be 11. And then I guess I'd have to put it'd have to go 49ers, Vikings, just because the 49ers just beat the Vikings.
So I have Vikings at 13 in mine. And then from here is where it just kind of like is put them in a...
Yeah, after that,
put them in a hat and pull like... So I personally have the Chargers at 14. But like, if you wanted to argue with me that it's really the Dolphins or the Broncos or the Raiders or the, whatever, like any of these teams that are kind of like any given week, you're like, oh, okay, they're not so bad.
Washington football team.
Or Washington. Well, I mean, I've got Washington, whatever, 19. So it's just kind of like any of those teams, if you want to make a case for me that they deserve that 14 spot or 15 spot, then
this is actually interesting talking these teams because I think I would go Chargers 14. I think I would go Washington 15. I really do.
Who's your 32? Lions or Texans?
Texans.
Wow, he sticks with the Texans.
Still have Texans at 32.
Yeah, I think they're.
I mentioned this on a numbers game the other day.
Still Texans.
We always say if the playoffs were to start tomorrow, if the draft were tomorrow, do you know that the Giants, Jets, and Eagles will have half of the first 14 picks in the draft? It's amazing.
This doesn't sound like nearly as fun of a betting draft as years past.
No, I was looking ahead in this one, and like, unless things start to really clear up, there's not as many bets that I'm going to be.
I mean, A, you don't have the quarterbacks, right? And B, what you just said, I think that makes it tougher to bet on.
It makes it way tougher because they can go any sort of direction or whatever, knowing that they have another pick, like in a couple of picks, right?
Jets 4, Jets 5, Giants 6, Giants 7, Eagles 8, Eagles 9, Eagles 14.
Yeah.
if that were to be the case. Who knows? Maybe it even gets worse as the season progresses if the Eagles lose some games.